Welcome back to another episode. I am the Real Jason Duncan. Today, we're talking with a guy who has figured out how to buy a 1,000-year-old hotel in Spain. Now, that's not all he's done, but he's doing that right now. And we're going to talk about that there's an open syndication that he's got that right now. The purpose of the show is not to promote the syndication, but that is part of his story. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So let me tell you a little bit about Mike Stohler. He's a former commercial airline pilot and a Navy veteran. He's the co-founder of a company called Gateway Private Equity Group. And what they focus on is a portfolio of hotels, multifamily, residential properties, et cetera. And between all of those things, Mike has been able to own and operate over 1,300 units. And he pivoted from multifamily strictly into hotels as his niche, a little while ago. And we're going to talk about that pivot. But when he first started back in '99, he failed. He lacked a lot of experience. He failed at this. And you, as a listener, you're probably thinking, me too, buddy. I've looked into real estate and I've screwed up. I've lost a lot of money. And so we're going to talk about how a commitment to action, a commitment to learning, a commitment to growth can help you become successful in your real estate game. So please help me welcome Mike Stohler to the show. Mike, welcome to the Root of All Success.
Thank you, Jason. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, I'm glad that you are here. So let's jump in straight away and talk about the failures, because I think a lot of times these shows are going to talk about how people succeeded and how well they did and how great everything was, and there was rainbows and unicorns. But what happened? Like, what was your biggest failure in real estate that made you go, "Ooh, I got to do this different"?
Yeah, great question. I got started back in the mid 90s, 96, 97. I call it the PG days, pre Google. And so, hey, buying was easy, right? So I bought 10 properties. No one taught me how to be a landlord. What do you do after that? I've got it. What paperwork is there? How do you evict someone? What happens if they don't pay? I'm in small town Indiana. And I was like, I have no freaking clue. And I couldn't Google something. I could just thumb through the phone book and try to find expert in real estate. It just didn't work back then. So that's how I failed. I had to give them all back because I did not know how to do the landlord part. So I had to sell our house. We had moved into my wife's parents' house. It was a very humbling experience, but that's really the reason why I failed, because I didn't know how to do anything.
So you took down 10 properties and had no plan on how to manage those properties. You're like, I own 10 doors. And you're like, that's great, but you don't know how to operate those doors.
I was all in, man. I was like I went to that one seminar somewhere, and they just said, buy however you can, just go out and buy. And well, I did. Now what?
And then real estate said bye to you for at least a little while. All right, now you're really focused on the niche of hotels, which I think is interesting. I don't know too many people. As a matter of fact, I'm running through my brain right now. I don't think I know anybody personally who focuses on hotel investments. I know lots of multifamily people. As a matter of fact, when I started looking personally into getting into real estate investing, that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to do multifamily, and I looked at so many deals. They say you're supposed to look at 100, or you probably will look at 100 deals before you buy your first one. Well, evidently I didn't get through my 100 because I never bought a multifamily. I've ended up only buying some single things and short-term rentals and that type of thing. And I have not yet succeeded in real estate investing to the degree that I want. So why hotels? What is it about hotels that you think is better than multifamily or any other investment class?
Yeah, it's a great question. Number one, I'm in Arizona, and so the cap rate's really condensed. Because it's just like you. Everyone's dream is, I'm gonna go from fix and flip to maybe Airbnb, short-term rentals, and then everyone wants to get into multifamily. That's really where they stop. And it got to the point where I had someone come up and wanted to buy my portfolio. I said no to them 4 times, and finally they gave me this price tag that I couldn't say no to. It was just too much money. After I sold it to him, I'm like, well, now what am I going to do? I'm going 1031 into something, and it's all about networking, right? It's all about people that you know. So what I did is I was like, what do I do? And called up a buddy of mine who'd been in hotels for 25 years, and I said, hey, talk to me. Why hotels? And he did. So I was like, okay, I've got the money. You find the assets. You run the assets, and we'll be a partner. And one of the reasons why I did that is if you take a 100-key hotel, 100-key multifamily, the hotel's going to make more money gross, because I can change rents 5 times a day if I want. The room, what I call rent. So that's one of the biggest things and I like the fact that it's a business instead of just personal real estate. Because I tell you what, I got tired of tenants. If I never see another tenant in my life, I'll be happy.
I think a lot of people right now are laughing in their cars listening to this because they're all going, "Amen, brother. These
That's
tenants
right.
are the worst. They are
Oh
the
my God.
worst, man."
Quit flushing those things down the toilet and quit fighting and yelling at each other through drain pipes. And I'm like, oh my God, people.
So hoteling, I would have not. I would have never guessed that hotels make more gross than multifamily, because multifamily, you're dealing with a lot. Well, I guess no, you're not dealing with a lot more money. I was thinking it's a lot more money on a monthly basis, but no, that
Yeah.
same room renting at $150 a night, if it's rented what occupancy rate 80%, you're going to make a lot more money on that than you're going to make on a multifamily that's renting at even $1,000 a month.
Yeah, exactly. And here's the great thing is I get your credit card up front.
That's right.
I'm not chasing anything. So you give me your credit card, I give you free internet, maybe free breakfast, and you're gone in 2 days or 3 days, and I do it all over again.
Wow, okay. Let's buy some hotels together, man. That sounds too good to be true. But what are the drawbacks? I mean, what are the things that you're dealing with in hotels that you didn't deal with in multifamily? Like, oh crap, I don't have to tenants, but I got this problem I got to deal with.
Well, I've got employees, and it's I guess the drawbacks. You have to you're under, if you do franchise hotels, you're under their thumb. You kind of have to do what they want, what they say. Every 6 or 7, 8 years, you have to completely redo stuff. We no longer have red chairs; they have to be blue. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with my red chairs, But so you have some of those things with the franchise. Um, they're cyclical. Multifamily is good because everyone needs a house, okay? And there's housing shortages. So like here in Arizona, when it gets to 120, 125 degrees, they go down. Occupancy goes down, but then they go back up, so that's one of the drawbacks is it's sometimes it's cyclical.
All right, so you're cyclical, and I would imagine during the COVID pandemic that was a huge hit into you because people couldn't travel and all these stupid regulations about masks and social distancing, all that crap that
Oh
I
my
can't, I
God.
still can't believe we let that happen. But and that's a whole other issue.
Don't
But
get
that
me started.
probably hit pretty bad on the cash flow, huh?
It did, and man, I bought a hotel in November 2019. Great timing. Because 4 months later, it went to 8% occupancy.
8?
8. And but what we do is, I'm an analytical person. The military, commercial airline. I'm that analytic, and I was like, how can I make this work? And thank God, and I'm not getting into politics, but thank God my hotels at the time were all in states that allowed me to stay open. Okay. It was my choice. The state government didn't force me to close any of my hotels. So that was a big, I will never buy a hotel in states that the governor will say, you know what, you can no longer be in business. I just won't do it. But you think outside of the box. The Regis's, all those places, the little offices all closed, right? So hey, you know what? I've got 100 and some hotel rooms. So I was like, let's do daily rentals, because how many people out there weren't.
Let's take a quick break to thank our amazing sponsors for making this podcast possible.
I finally got it. It's the brand new Relay credit card. So check it out. I'm gonna do a little unboxing for you so you can check this out. So here we go. Nice little case, kind of like the American Express. They're not playing. They're doing it right. Oh, look at this. There's a quote right inside that says, "Success is having to worry about every damn thing in the world except money." Johnny Cash. That's pretty good. I've not heard that one. Oh, this is nice. A little thing on the back, up to 1.5% cash back, no annual fees or interest, 30-day billing cycle. And there it is. It's the Relay credit card. It's a Visa. So I'm not going to show you my number, but there it is. Look at that. Boom. Go to therealjasonduncan.com/relay.
Thanks for listening to our sponsors. Now, back to the show.
About their profitability pre-COVID, and it's on its way back now because it's been a mom and pop run property. So tell us a little bit about the financials around this deal.
Yeah. If you can believe it's 11 rooms. And we've talked to the mayor of the town. In Spain, you talk to the mayor, you see what kind of charity can I give in order to get approvals, things like that. Talk to the forest. It's 40 minutes outside of Barcelona, up on its own mountaintop. So it is 360-degree views of nothing, just forest. And you can actually see the Mediterranean Sea below it. It's phenomenal. But we're buying this. It's 11 rooms. We're buying it for around $2 million cash. In 2019, it made 1.3 million gross. So you can see that in a couple of years, once we get it back going, it's just a phenomenal opportunity. And this is more of a lifestyle play as far as the investment. So it's going to be a long-term hold.
Okay. How did you go from commercial airline pilot to investor? From what I understand, commercial airline pilots have a pretty good life. They get to travel, they make good money. There's certainly some perks that come along with that. What was it about that said, I'm not doing this anymore, I'm gonna go do something else?
Yeah. That dang book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that everyone reads. And I had the pleasure of going to a party with Robert Kiyosaki, and a wonderful guy. Talked to him for a long time. But I got way back when I failed. In between those things, I became an airline pilot, and I used my money to get back in. That's when I got back into real estate. And so I had all these assets building up, and I got injured really bad landing in Houston in a tropical storm. So I was on disability. I wasn't flying.
Really?
And I looked,
what happened?
Like,
how do you, sorry to interrupt, but how
yeah,
do you get injured?
Okay.
How do you get injured landing a plane? Other than what we would all imagine, but this is not a little puddle jumper. This has got 200 people behind you. What happened?
Yeah. So we were real bad storms, and, we're circling, the holding pattern like everyone, is accustomed to. And here's how it works. ATC goes, hey, it's not lightning, but it's still pretty bad. You want to give it a shot? Like, sure. Why not? So I go in the muck, and there's a thing called wind shear. And the winds were coming out of the left at around 60 knots, 60, 65 miles an hour. I transfer over to tower, and they say it's 60 some miles an hour the opposite way, coming from the right. So I was like, okay, at some point, because airplanes are weather vanes, the nose goes into the wind. So I'm flying down, landing basically like this, sideways. And then about 1,200 feet off the ground, it snapped violently to the right. And all hell just broke loose. Autopilot, everything just went whoop. I have no idea what just happened. You pilot, you take over. So I grabbed it, and we're in IFR. We're still in the clouds in the bad weather. And about 600 feet off the ground, I'm fighting it, white knuckling it. It tried to snap again at 600 feet off the ground. And a yoke goes forward and back and also turns. It popped so hard violently that it actually took my forearm muscle off the bone.
Oh my gosh.
Because I had it white knuckled, and it just snapped. And got control of the airplane again. And then the co-pilot said, lights in sight. That means we see the runway, the lights. And I was like, oh, screw it, man. Navy landing, just slammed it on the ground, and that was it.
So from the passenger standpoint, it was a rough landing, but they didn't know anything other than it was just a rough landing.
Well, I mean, no, because you could actually hear some of the screams through my headphones.
Oh, no.
When it snaps like that, people are people notice when, because it wasn't that bumpy, but it's just you're going from the left and all of a sudden you're going snapping to the right. So people, you feel that.
Oh my gosh. Was that your
Snap.
last flight?
That was my last. Well, it wasn't my last flight, but it was the last one I flew because I had another flight after that, and I just, man, I've just jacked up my arm. I said, to the other pilot, you fly the next leg. I woke up the next day and my forearm was about as big as my thighs. And I was like, you're going to have to fly back to Houston. I flew for Continental, so I was based in Houston.
Wow.
And went down to the clinic down on the bottom, and they said, yeah, you're done. So I had to rent a car with this jacked up arm. I had to rent a car and drive back to Arizona.
Oh my gosh. All right. So you learned to fly in the Navy, I'm assuming, and then became a
No,
pilot? No?
no. I was a operations specialist in the Navy. These kept me from flying military. Um, I did it the hard way. I got my pilot license when I was 17. I wanted to be a pilot, could never afford it. So I had to wait till I made some money and just went to the local airport and just started getting my certifications.
All right. So you're a commercial pilot. You've been investing, you failed, and then now you're taking some of this commercial pilot money and you're investing back into real estate. So that's how you made the transition. What's the biggest lesson you've learned in real estate? What's the biggest thing that listeners would probably be surprised to hear?
Yeah, two things real quick. Number one, always get coaching, always get mentoring. That's the thing. Don't try to do it on your own like I did back in '97, because chances are you're probably going to fail. Now that you have all these podcasts, there's really no excuse. You can Google everything. But what is your why, everybody? Why do you want real estate's not easy. What is your why? And don't make it say, well, I want to be a millionaire, because if you're successful, the money's going to.
Let's take a quick break to thank our amazing sponsors for making this podcast possible.
As an entrepreneur running multiple businesses, effective communication is critical for me. I've tried all kinds of outreach tools over the years, but none have compared to Dubb when it comes to driving real results, and that's DUBB. I was one of Dubb's first users. I think it was like 7 years ago when they first launched, and I've been a loyal customer ever since. Dubb has completely transformed my prospecting, my client communication strategy, and here's why. Dubb makes it simple to record personal video messages and share them across email, SMS, social media, and more. And this brings back the face-to-face connection that's missing from most digital outreach. And what happens is my prospects instantly feel more engaged when they can put my face to my name. I end up building a stronger relationship faster by incorporating these video messaging into my workflow. Dubb also provides tracking and analytics so I can see exactly who engages with my videos and how they respond to them. Their automation and their CRM features help me nurture leads and close more deals. I mean, that's what we're trying to do, right, as entrepreneurs. So after using Dubb for years, I absolutely can't recommend them enough. I mean, Ruben, those guys over there are phenomenal. I love Darius. They're all great guys. It's become an invaluable tool that I depend upon to run my businesses efficiently. And if you want to boost your outreach and see amazing results like I have, head over to therealjasonduncan.com/Dubb. That's DUBB, and you can try it completely for free. No credit card required. You get the first 50% off your first 2 months, by the way, if you use my link. You need to take your prospecting to the next level with video messaging from Dubb. They're my go-to sales communication platform for nearly 7 years and counting. Go to therealjasonduncan.com/Dubb. Try it for free, no credit card required, and you'll get 50% off your first 2 months as well.
Thanks for listening to our sponsors. Now, back to the show.
Get there. Why do you want to do this? For me, it was I wanted to build a life that I didn't need a vacation from. And I've achieved that. I can now work anywhere in the world. rent an RV for a month and still work. You know, you can do anything you want. That was my why. Another thing, really quick, is the importance of building a team. Don't do everything on your own. I did that for so long. You know, I was paying the bills. I was going every day to the apartment complexes. I was going to the court. I was doing all this stuff. I didn't start really growing until, you know, I quit the airlines. And then I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to start hiring people. Number one, I need to hire people that can talk to the tenants, because I was getting pretty nasty. You know, it's like going, you know, but build a team. The CPAs, the attorneys, the operations people. Once I did that, then I skyrocketed.
How do you define success? What does that mean to you?
That's a great question. Success is being happy. You know, some people say, well, success because I'm a multimillionaire. Success means you go to work every day and you're happy. I get to spend time with the family. I get to spend time doing what I love. To me, that is success. There's a lot of people that I know that make $30,000 a year that are successful because they're at the kids' ball practice. They're doing things that they enjoy and they have a happy life. To me, that's epitome of success.
So by that definition, do you consider yourself to be successful?
I do. I do. There's always that greed. You know, it's like I need another 10 hotels. I need, you know, things like that. But here's the thing. You know, I have a house up in the mountains that, you know, is my stress relief. You know, I get to plug in the guitars at night. We get to go on vacations. You know, I'm not tied down. And to me, that was remember that build a life you don't need a vacation from. I've achieved that. So therefore, in my opinion of what success is, I've achieved that.
Well, now what I'd like you to do as we kind of get ready to close out our conversation today is put your coach hat on and talk to the listeners about what's a good piece of advice you give them. You've already talked about having a team, and I love the build a life that you don't need a vacation from, or build a business you don't need a vacation from, because as my listeners know, I'm the exit without exiting guy. That's what I teach. You got to figure out how to run, you know, own the business, not run it.
Yep.
So I love those two pieces of advice. But beyond that, what's one of your golden piece of advice that you could give to our listeners?
One is go slow and stick to a niche. I know people that I own multifamily, industrial, storage, you know, all these things, and they're too many hats. Find something and stick to it, whether it's multifamily, and you can switch once you evolve, but go slow and don't ever go into a new asset class unless you have someone to partner with you. If you own 1,000 multi-unit doors, don't just go out and buy a hotel. Get someone that you can learn from. You know, that is the biggest thing. And it takes a lot longer than an HGTV episode. Okay. There's going to be a lot of heartaches. There's going to be a lot of things, but stay the course, as we say in the military, and learn from the mistakes and the challenges. Don't run from them. You know, COVID was horrible for the hotels, but I could have said, you know what, I give up, and all of my investors could have lost all that money. But you dig down in the trenches and learn instead of running from the mistakes.
Well, Mike, man, I congratulate you on your success and building that type of lifestyle, because you would not have had that lifestyle as a commercial pilot for the rest of your life. And so this seems to be much, much better. So congratulations on your success. I'm going to tell people how to get in touch with you, especially if they're interested in that hotel, to be involved in that hotel syndication outside Barcelona. They can get in touch with you. I will handle that at the end. But is there anything else? I want to give you the last word in the show today.
You know, if you're whether you're starting out or you have some assets, you know, we're in a absolutely wonderful career. You know, God's not making any more real estate, so real estate is it, and believe in that. The hardest part is going to buy that first asset. Don't be a seminar junkie. You know, I speak at a lot of seminars. I see some people, and it's like, oh, have you bought anything yet? No, you know, one more seminar and I'll be ready. Number one, make that jump, ladies and gentlemen. Buy that first asset and then enjoy it. Learn
Well, thank you, Mike, for that piece of advice. And thank you for being on the show. As I said, congratulations on your success.
Thank you, sir.
All right, there you have it. Another successful entrepreneur, this time a real estate entrepreneur, about how to become successful and how to push through adversity and failure and make it. And as he talked about in the show today, we see that he failed, went and bought these properties and didn't know what he was doing. And then if you tie that into what he said at the end, he said, you've got to have people around you, that coaches, advisors, people that you can help, that can help you. Had he had that at the beginning, he wouldn't have failed. He wouldn't have gone through that. So you have the opportunity, Mr. or Mrs. potential real estate investor, to make sure that you don't fail like that, because there's other people like Mike and many thousands of others who failed ahead of you. Learn from their failures, hire them, go to their seminars, but at some point take action, buy the thing that you're interested in buying. So as always, I just want to say thank you to the listeners. Thank you for listening to the show, no matter where you are in the world. From the bottom of my heart, I very much appreciate you taking the time to listen to the show. Big thanks to Mike for being on the show. If you want to get in touch with him, you can reach him at gatewaype.com. That's gatewaype.com. He's also on LinkedIn at Michael Stohler, and that's Stohler, Michael Stohler. And he's on YouTube at Mike.Stohler, So look him up. And if you want information on that hotel in Barcelona, if that's in a syndication that you're interested in, just reach out to them at gatewaype.com and let them know you heard about it right here on The Root of All Success. Tune in again next week when I talk with yet another very successful entrepreneur about his or her journey to success. Until then, as always, I am the real Jason Duncan, and Jesus is King.
Attention business owners. Attention business owners. Feeling burnout from running your business? Uncertain if you're nearing burnout? Take our free 10-question business burnout test at businessburnouttest.com to discover where you stand. With just 10 quick questions, you'll learn how to immediately begin making changes to regain freedom and success. Cut your daily operations time in half. Improve your quality of life and prepare your business for your future exit without losing revenue or profit. Visit businessburnouttest.com now and take the test. Thank you for listening to another edition of The Root of All Success with the real Jason Duncan. If you've enjoyed this week's episode, visit therootofallsuccess.com to access the show notes and other helpful resources. Follow Jason on social media at The Real Jason Duncan. See you again next time here on The Root of All Success.